Ganondagan. I give thanks that all of you are well. I am holding in my hands two different types of seashells. In my right hand, I have a quahog clam shell, and in my left, I have a lightning whelk shell. What is the significance of these shells? Well, this is what was used to manufacture wampum beads. And these wampum beads were created by people living along the Atlantic Ocean who harvested these shells. They used them for food, but they then created beads from these, and these beads became trade items. They were traded to us, the Haudenosaunee people, and we then assembled those beads into belts, which we refer to as wampum belts, or which are referred to as wampum belts. And one of the very earliest belts that was created is this belt, which is a facsimile of the original, and we call this one the Hiawatha Belt, or the Hiawatha Belt. This belt shows the 5 nations that were united by a message of peace, power, and righteousness after our peacemaker came through our territories to help us to stop fighting, to stop killing one another, and to find a way to resolve our differences by using our mind, using the power of the good mind. So beginning on my right-hand side, I'm going to say, this is the Mohawk Nation, the first nation to accept the message of peace. Then followed by that, the Oneida Nation, which also accepted the message of peace. The Onondagas were not ready because they had one individual who was opposed to the message of peace. So the peacemaker at that time had to skip over and go next to the Cayuga Nation. And the Cayuga Nation was ready for the message of peace. They accepted it. Another nation which was a bit of a holdout and had to be given some special conditions, some special responsibilities, it was the Onondaga, or the Seneca people. We are known as the keepers of the western door, and that was the thing that we wanted to be. We wanted to protect the rest of the Confederacy from those nations that lied to the west. In the center, symbolized by a tree, is the Onondaga Nation, by the tree of peace, we say. However, you can look at it this way and say it could also represent the heart of our nation. And the Onondagas are there to guard the central fire and to bring together the people when they counsel for the welfare of the entire Confederacy, the Haudenosaunee. So, this belt is very important to us. It's a seminal belt among the wampum belts that we have. The next belt that I'm going to speak of we refer to as the Gosuenta, or the 2-row. And you can see there are 2 purple rows running parallel with each other. And we said this is an agreement we made with the Dutch. The Mohawk Nation made it way back in 1613. And they said this: the Dutch were traveling around in their ship, traveling along the river of life, going forward in time. And in their ship they had everything they needed. They had law. They had their understanding of the way of life for them. They had a knowledge of their language. They had a knowledge of their medicines and other things that they needed. Everything is in their ship with them. Parallel to them in traveling along this same river of life are the Haudenosaunee, or in the first case, the Mohawk Nation, Ganondagan. In their canoe, they have their way of life. They have their language. They have their law. They have their knowledge. Everything that they need. And there are 3 rows of white beads separating these 2. And it says we can live in peace and friendship forever, so long as we can accept the right of each to exist. And if we can do this, this agreement will last as long as the water flows downhill, as long as the grass grows green at a certain time of year, and as long as the elder brother, the sun, makes his journey across the sky. We are brothers. They are not our father. We are brothers and sisters with those who came here from across the ocean. So this original agreement, the Gosuenta, is very important to us. Now, earlier I was holding up a belt, which is a very large belt, so I can't hold the whole thing up. But this is the belt that was commissioned by George Washington It was made by two Oneida women to commemorate the Ganondagan Treaty. The fact is, this belt was made about 1792 when there were only 13 states at that time. By 1794 there were 15. So there are 13 large figures on this belt. They are linked arm in arm. There are two small figures in the very center, and they are to represent the keeper of the eastern door, the Mohawk Nation, and the keeper of the western door, the Seneca Nation. There is a house in the center, and it says, as long as you can travel in peace, you can travel through our territories. The door is open, you might say. Again, these 13 nations are to be looking, or 13 states are to be looking out for the welfare of the 6 nations. Again, the Seneca, the Cayuga, the Onondaga, the Oneida, the Mohawk, and the 6th nation to join our confederacy, the Tuscarora. These wampum belts are created to commemorate and to hold certain important ideas. They are referred to as a mnemonic device. The message has been woven into the belt. When the holder holds the belt, he is reminded of the message that was put into them. So they are our form of communication. One aspect of the Ganondagan Treaty is still honored by the United States, even today. And this responsibility has fallen to the Army Corps of Engineers. The Army Corps of Engineers has a warehouse someplace where they hold this cloth and then they ship bolts of it using UPS to the Seneca Nation, just as an example. And this is called and referred to as treaty cloth, because in the original Ganondagan Treaty, there's an agreement that the United States is going to set aside $4,500 annually for our particular needs. Now in 1794, $4,500 was a lot of money. Today it is obviously not. But we, members of the Seneca Nation, can still receive 1 yard of this particular muslin to commemorate the Ganondagan Treaty. We can go to the clerk's office and they can pull out a bolt of the cloth and cut off a yard for us. And at one time the United States came to us and said, how about if we do this? We just give you a lump sum of money, and we forget about this annual distribution of treaty cloth. And we said, no, we want you to continue to remember this treaty is in place by annually sending us treaty cloth. And we don't care if it gets down to the size of a postage stamp. It's the idea that there was a commitment made 226 years ago. We are still honoring that commitment, and we would like you to. And one way in which you do that is by sending us this treaty cloth on an annual basis. This is some real wampum here, and I just wanted to hold this up to give you an example of some of the real wampum made from shell versus the plastic or the ceramic pieces that are in these other belts. It's a true message. When the belt is brought, or when the string of wampum is brought out, it's to convey a true message that comes through our Creator to us in order for us to survive in this place we call Turtle Island. Aneho Diai, Daneho.